us. Perfect. Okay, so welcome everyone to the third annual event of the Youth Internet Governance Forum India 2020. We are delighted to have you on board, and we really look forward to interesting and thought-provoking discussions around the governance of the internet over these 3 days. So what is Youth IGF India, right? What is this forum all about? So Youth Internet Governance Forum India is actually a platform that is recognized by the United Nations Internet Governance Forum and supported by INSIC, the India School of Internet Governance. And it is aimed at engaging the youth in internet-related discussions. By that, we mean that we believe that it is extremely important for the youth to understand the intersection between technology, policy, society, in order to engage in informed policy making and technology developments in the future. To achieve this, to achieve the goal of bringing in youth of our country and global youth in decision-making positions and to make them aware of internet governance and the verticals of internet governance. In addition to having informative webinars and online meetings, we also we've organized 2 annual forums as of now, right? So what we try to do in the informative webinars and online meetings is we discuss critical concepts regarding related to internet governance and have sessions on issues and hot topics of internet governance. Now, we have had 2 events as of now. The first event was in 2018. So after receiving the recognition from UN IGF and immense support from the India School of Internet Governance, we organized the first YIGF India in 2018 in New Delhi at the Indira Gandhi Delhi Technical University for Women on 12th October. Now, this event was a first event, and we saw participation of over 120 youth from all across the country, which included our 20 fellows. So here we had discussed, topics of, we had actually started off the discussion with the concepts of internet governance and then moved around the critical topics of internet governance and challenges and debates. We had group activities to understand the core internet infrastructure. We had an activity where through a multi-stakeholder role play, we were trying to understand how access and connectivity really works, what are the regulations and technical solutions to improve access and connectivity in India. Then we also had sessions around privacy and safeguards over the internet. This following year in 2019, the last year, we organized a second annual forum on 14th November at St. Xavier's University in Kolkata. This event saw participation of around 200 youth from all across the country, which also included 20 fellows. So in addition to the topics that I just mentioned, we had sessions that covered, emerging technologies and challenges. We had session on cybersecurity. We also had sessions on the type of opportunities that are present for the youth in order to engage and contribute and further grow in internet governance. This year, at the start of this year, we had a wonderful opportunity to collaborate with Youth IGF Ghana and organize a Youth Advocacy Weekend, which is a workshop to share the skill sets that are required for effective advocacy. Later, it's a 2-day event where on the second day we started working on coming up with policy recommendations on certain critical internet governance issues. Now, we are extremely happy to be organizing the 3rd annual forum of Youth IGF India from today onwards, so 30th of October, 31st October, and 1st November. So this is a virtual conference, and because of the pandemic, but I can say that, it's all a learning experience, and really happy to be able to accommodate so many more people now that the event is virtual. So in the span of these 3 days, right, what is it that you're going to learn? So day one, that is today, we're going to understand the internet governance ecosystem. And this today is when you will actually start working towards building your foundations in internet governance. And what is this internet governance all about? It might seem like a black box to a lot of people today, but it'll all be clear by the end of the day. And day 2, tomorrow, we have sessions around 2 overarching themes: data and trust. The themes of data and trust, will be introduced by Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant, who is a National Cybersecurity Coordinator for our country. Day 3, we are covering the theme inclusion and environment, and we have Dr. Thomas, who's a senior lecturer at Lund University in Sweden, talking about introducing the theme environment, because it's the first time we are discussing environment and ICT, information communication technology, at our event. So we're really happy that, over the span of 3 years that Youth IGF India has reached this maturity, and we're very glad to have received immense support from our advisory committee. And for this event, in fact, I'm joined by my organizing committee. We have Brinda, Tavleen, Priyanka, Alan, Anshul, and Atif. And how about we go around the room, Brinda? Maybe we can start with you, and then you can give a quick introduction about yourself and talk to our participants today.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Ahita. Hello, everyone. My name is Brinda, and I'm from Telangana. So I graduated with an electronics and communications degree from Delhi back in 2016. But my passion for working in the development sector led me to Teach for India, where I was a fellow for 2 years and a program manager for a year. So as a fellow, I taught in a government school in Hyderabad. So I wanted to understand the grassroots realities of the education sector, especially in the rural, urban communities. And then I became program manager, where I trained teachers from government and low-income private schools. So I worked with Teach for India for 3 years. With that experience, I wanted to get into the field of policy making. So I signed up with YLAC, which is Youth for Young Leaders for Active Citizenship. And I took the Policy in Action program to understand what the policy making process would look like. Post that, I worked with a policy research and advocacy firm in Bombay, and I moved back to Hyderabad. I'm currently freelancing, and I'm preparing for my civil services examination next year. And I hope to learn a lot from the platform, from like-minded peers as well. I've also been accepted as a fellow this year. So I hope that this is going to bring in good outcomes, and I'm really excited for the 3-day event. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brinda. Next, we'll have Tavleen. Please go ahead, Tavleen.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tavleen. I'm from Delhi. I am pursuing my master's in social work at Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and I'm studying public health. I'm focusing on public health, and in social work, we believe in the social determinants framework, which basically entails that we try to understand all aspects, which looks at policy very, very specifically. And with all classes shifting online, I thought it was specifically important for us to understand how the internet and surveillance and censorship issues are related to all aspects of social work and intervention, which is why I joined this, and I'm very interested, and I'm really looking forward to the next coming 3 days.
Thanks a lot, Tavleen. Priyanka? Priyanka, can you hear me? Okay, I'll just connect with Priyanka quickly, but Alan, could you go next?
Yes, Ahita. So hello everyone, good evening. My name is Alan P. Alex. I'm from Alapi, Kerala. I'm an advocate by profession. I'm a graduate in law, and I'm done with my post-graduation from National University of Advanced Legal Studies. My core area of study is international trade law, constitutional law, cyber laws, which includes disruptive technology. And I did my dissertation in blockchain technology. And my first breakthrough with internet governance came last year when I was selected as a fellow for YIGF 2019 edition. I was also the best participant last year. And after that, I was in close collaboration with YIGF for the past 1 year. And so this year I'm at the organizing committee, and I was also being part of We the Internet Citizens Dialogue, which is happening across 77 countries, where I have been doing the role of a facilitator and note taker. So yeah, I'm looking forward for all these 3 days, and all the best for all of you for the event.
Thank you so much, Alan. Anshul, how about you?
Sure. Thank you, Alan, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. This is Anshul. I am a software developer by profession, and I live in Kolkata currently. I work for Flipkart, and I've had a brief introduction to policy making with YLAC's Policy in Action program before. And as a software developer, I work with the internet and work for the internet, and with that, it becomes very important for me to understand how the internet governance and how policies are shaped around, because I believe that getting an education or learning about all of this is very important. It will kind of help you and take important actions later on. And hence I'm here to I'm happy to help you all out if there are any issues, and wish you all the best for the upcoming sessions.
Thanks a lot, Anshul. Priyanka, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. So I did about me.
Priyanka, I think we've lost you. Okay. I think Priyanka is facing some network issue. So how about we, again, in the organizing committee, we also have Atif, who is not joining right now, but he will be joining us in a bit, and then we can have him talk about himself a bit. Right. So Tavleen, can we go to the code of conduct, and maybe I can take everyone through this. So this event, since we're doing it virtual, we have a set of rules and regulations so that this virtual space is comfortable for all of us and we all learn together. So there are certain expectations that we have from our participants, and they are that the participants are expected to act professionally and ethically at all times. And please refrain from making any comments or engaging in any actions that, that don't hold diversity of gender, caste, creed, belief, age, or any sexual orientation. Please also understand that we are all here to talk about our opinions and perspectives, but let's consider others' feelings and opinions as well. Also, we are all, it's a multi-stakeholder forum, Youth IGF India, so all opinions and perspectives are welcome. Then we respect your right to be heard, and we will allow the space to others to articulate their thoughts during all of IGF India meetings over the next days. Please also respect the privacy of other participants with respect to any text, with respect to any images, data, videos, and other materials that you are collecting or you're sharing or over social media platform also, because we have a hashtag that we would like for you to use. So please be cautious of others' images, data, any form of data, text, image, video, and any other material that you collect at IGF. Right, and these are actually a couple of points that we'd like you to note. So I'm really glad that all of us have joined using our full names and email IDs, because it's really important for us to keep a track, since at the end of 3 days, based on your participation, we would like to give you all a certificate for your effective participation in the 3 days of IGF 2020. Then if you want to ask any questions or have any comments or suggestions, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. And you can raise your hand during the Q&A session, or you can also type your questions or suggestions or comments in the chat section. We will definitely take note. And as Anshul mentioned, we are all here to help you. We are also learning along with you. At the end of each day, we'll be sharing feedback forms that we request you to fill, because we'd like to know how we can do better and how we can engage the youth better in internet governance. Right, so that brings us to Youth IGF India 2020 Day 1. Our keynote for today is Ms. Anja Gengo, who is the NRI Initiative Coordinator at the United Nations Internet Governance Forum. So before we start with the session, because her session is actually scheduled at 6 p.m. IST, so we do have 10 minutes. How about we go around the room, and if people would like to share their experiences and would like to introduce themselves for the next 10 minutes, we could do that. Or if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, so that we can take note of it before we actually start the event. You may raise your hand and we'll unmute you right away.
Hi, this is Sharda. I'm sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand. I don't seem to have the option here.
Okay, so I'll just help you out.
Yes, yeah. So I just have Sorry.
Go ahead, Shah. Good. I'll help out with the raising hand option in a bit. You go ahead.
So I just have one question. So the rapporteuring thing that you'd spoken about, right? Has it been allocated to certain people, or like how is it going to work exactly?
Right. So for the 3-day event, like I mentioned, fellows, we have 20 fellows who are joining in, and we have a lot of participants who are joining in. So for the fellows, it's an opportunity for you to rapporteur and be the note takers of the session so that we can consolidate that and come up with the reports. The links that have been shared with the fellows, you will have to, based on your interest in the session, you can write your name as the note taker and then start taking down this, the notes for the session. And there are certain, you can see certain options that you have to fill, like the speaker's name, the images for the session, all of that. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so it's voluntary then.
It's voluntary. If you would like to be the co-author of the final report, then it's completely up to you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, Priyanka joined. Sorry, I was having some technical issues.
Go ahead, Priyanka.
Hi, everyone. Glad to see so many of you here. So yeah, I'm Priyanka Das. I am part of the organizing committee, and so as professionally, I work with Citibank in IT operations. I also have volunteered with other NGOs for child development and education. I attended a program in public policy, and that's where my introduction to internet governance happened, because my project was on internet governance, surveillance, censorship, and intermediaries. So yeah, that's how I got to know about what internet governance is, and I got interested in. After that, I kept exploring opportunity, and that's how YIGF happened. So yeah, that's all. Feels great to be here, and yeah, let's have some awesome sessions for the next 2 days. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Priyanka. Guys, I forgot to mention that along with the certificate of participation, we are also recognizing the best participant. That depends on, we're not expecting everyone to have a prior understanding of the topics, but we would really like if, to find somebody who we believe is like the best participant with respect to the type of, the amount of questions you're asking and the quality of questions that you have, the comments and the type of inputs you're providing for every session. So that's also an opportunity along with the certificate of participation that we're providing. Are there any questions or comments? Ms. Anya will join in the next 6 minutes. And to further help you, since we had a question regarding the raising hand button. So if you go on more, when you open your participants window, where you have all the participants listed, you can see a more option with 3 dots. When you click on that, you will see a thumbs down, thumbs up, a clap, then there is one that says that you need a break, and there is one that says away. Now, I'm just taking you through all the options that are possible. Then there is one that says clear all. Then there's one where you can go faster, slower, this is not applicable here. Then yes or no. So this is easier for you to communicate if, let's say, if you're asking your question or if you just want to communicate without turning on your microphones or your video cameras, then you can use these emotions. Yes. Now, if you want to raise your hand, I do understand that there is no option to raise your hand. Then in that case, we would really like if you could share your questions in the chat. Let's keep the Zoom chat active. Please share your comments, suggestions, and let's have a discussion there. And if you have any questions, please start the question with question in capitals, QUESTION and colon, and then you can have your question over there. And we will take all the questions during the Q&A round or at the end of each session. And it completely depends on a facilitator or speaker. If they would like an interactive session where we can, unmute ourselves and ask the question, it's completely up to the speaker. if there are any questions or comments. Actually, how about we start off with understanding your expectations for the next 3 days? If there's anyone who would like to speak, please go ahead and unmute yourself. Hi, yes.
We have a question in the chat from Dr. Abhishek Bhatia. I'm just reading it aloud. And we'll address this over the course of the event today.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so his question is, what is the Indian national body responsible for internet governance? Is it a state or central subject? Are there national level coordinating bodies? When did laws and bills about internet governance get passed in India?
Thank you very much for your question, Abhishek. So this, I would say, is basically the content of our discussion today over the next 3 hours. We are going to talk about what is internet governance. We're going to talk about the ecosystem, how it's a multi-stakeholder body, how there's so many stakeholders involved in making sure that the internet functions smooth, transparent, open, and borderless. And so we are going to cover all of this in the next 3 hours. The PDP bill is pending, yes. Brinda, I would suggest we start taking notes of the questions and the topics.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Ijaz, did you have a question around that, or do you just want to share your comment about it? Ijaz, can you hear us? All right, we'll wait for him to get back. I'll start taking note of all the questions that we can address at the end of the sessions.
Great, thanks. And I'm sure this question will be addressed today in the next 3 hours.
Ahita, do we have time for another question?
Yeah, please go ahead. Anya is just about to join.
Sure. So Ajay's question is, what are the roles and responsibilities of UN IGF and what are the annual events of Internet Governance Forum? So I'm guessing Ms. Anya is the best person to answer this.
Yes, and she is joining in less than a minute.
Yeah, Ajay, I think just give it the session and all your questions will be answered regarding this. Ravi.
Sure, Brenda, sure.
Thank you. Ravi, I'm just reading your comment aloud. Website security should also be discussed in the session as it will bring more awareness. All right, I'm taking a note of that, Ravi. All right, Ajas. Okay, all right. I'm taking a note of that. Anya is here.
Hi, Ms. Anya. How are you? Thank you so much for joining in. We were just having a conversation with our participants about, talking about Youth IGF India, talking about our previous 2 editions, and thanking you for the support. And we would like to start with our event, and we would really like if you can deliver the keynote and inaugurate the 3-day Youth IGF India 2020 edition. So Ms. Anja Gengo is the NRI Initiative Coordinator at the United Nations Internet Governance Forum. And it's through her support that we are where we are. And she's been of constant support to us throughout from the past, I would say from the very beginning. So thank you so much, Anja, for all your support. And please proceed and go ahead with your inaugural keynote and speak to our youth.
Thank you very much, Hita, and thank you so much for inviting me. I almost was late, I have to say. As you know, this is the very last work day before we start with the first phase of the 15th Annual IGF meeting on Monday. So from your experience, Hita, I'm sure you and all other colleagues can imagine how intensive time period this is for all of us. In any case, I sincerely would like to thank you for inviting me. This is a very important day, not just for the organizers of this Youth IGF, for you as the community, but I have to say for the IGF Secretariat as well. I'm confident in saying that the MAG chair would also join me in these words, as well as the members of the MAG and the entire ecosystem. The Youth IGFs are extremely important in the ecosystem because you are our guarantee that we are moving toward a brighter, safe future, safer, open, and fully accessible internet for all. I think that the earlier we start, the better. That means that once you come to the position of being senior experts, of being decision makers related to digital public policy, you will already be fully equipped with necessary skills, with necessary knowledge, and in that regard be quicker. And that's what we see as a huge potential of the Youth IGF, and the IGF Secretariat is investing within its capacity as much as we can to provide support to the excellent and such inspiring work that is happening outside across so many Youth IGFs. A few weeks ago, I've witnessed firsthand such a good example of cooperation between young people from Ghana and India, thanks to Lily and Ihita and their enthusiasm and incredible energy you have to create synergies between those two Youth IGFs. And I do sincerely hope that many will follow that example. Let me go now quickly focus to the IGF 2020 process, especially the upcoming 15th annual IGF meeting, and to invite you to join us as active participants in the 2 weeks of what seems to be very promising discussions on various internet governance matters. So on Monday, I believe early as of 6 a.m. UTC, we are starting with the first phase of the 15th Annual Internet Governance Forum meeting. As you know, the meeting, just as yours, due to the current pandemic, has been decided to be hosted online, primarily to focus on the safety of all the participants. The initial host country of this year's IGF was supposed to be Government of Poland. With the transition to online hosting, the United Nations took the hosting this year. And we're very fortunate that the Government of Poland is committed to host the 16th annual IGF meeting next year. So hopefully I'm going to meet many of you in person next year in Katowice. This year's IGF is specific. It's very specific from an organizational point of view. As you can also testify, it's not easy to transition in a very short time period to a completely online hosting. It's also specific in terms of the topics. As you know, the IGF 2020 is organized under the overall motto, virtually together. Internet for Human Resilience and Solidarity is the overall theme. And the entire program, which features over 200 sessions, is focused on 4 main thematic tracks, which are data, inclusion, environment, and trust. Now, data, inclusion, and trust are, I would even say, traditional thematic orientation of the IGF, following the bottom-up requests and priorities expressed by the community. But environment is a completely new track this year. It's not that much present in our overall discussions. As you know, our discussions, especially we see that through the NRIs, are, which is completely reasonable, dominated mostly by the safety, security topics, by topics related to data, to digital inclusion, achieving access and connectivity, emerging technologies, concepts of privacy and freedom of expression and other types of rights, especially the human rights. But environment is something new, and I dare to say that it was even more prompted and even more intensively represented in our discussions due to the 2 key factors. The one is the climate change. As you know, the climate change especially in the international context, but even more in the national context, especially after the Paris Agreement, has featuring prominently the public discussions of many countries and regions. Even beyond that, beyond political decisions, we are witnessing just as people living, we are witnessing the changes. So that's something that's naturally coming into our discussions, where we are seeing how the technologies are impacting or can impact the climate change and preserving our nature primarily and our and well-being of all people. But then also the second factor, of course, is this year and the ongoing pandemic, which showed to us that we had to transition overall our environmental dynamics to digital. And we've seen that digital is basically so prominently featuring all aspects of our lives. So those are the topics that we are going to be seeing in the IGF 2020 discussions. And I can see them more and more appearing on the agendas of the national, regional Youth IGFs, which, as you know, just as your Youth IGF, are developed in a bottom-up manner by asking people what's their priority. And that's the biggest value of the IGF concepts, in addition to the openness, in addition to the multi-stakeholder nature and treating everyone as equals, creating meaningful dialogue and so on. So that's the new dynamics of the IGF that we see. The IGF 2020 will be also interesting for young people for two particular reasons. The one reason is the youth track that many of you, I'm sure, are aware, because I can recognize in the participants list some of the names that attended some of the webinars and open consultations that we've run throughout this year. In addition to the youth track, the high-level track will also be featured throughout the IGF, and that's the second factor that I wanted to bring up to your attention, because I think it creates opportunities for you to also take active participation and to be that voice that will be channeled to the high-level leaders, experts, and decision makers. So the youth track, let me just quickly focus on that, and then I'm going to speak a little bit about the high-level track. And with that, I think we can maybe I can conclude, and I'll be happy to also hear from you as well if there will be opportunity. The youth track will feature several activities which will allow not just for youth to youth discussions, because we've heard from young people that they're quite fine with how many platforms are there outside on the international scene with the young people to speak to each other and to meet each other. But where they're not satisfied is the fact that there are no platforms that are allowing you to meet with those that are currently in a position of the experts and decision makers. That's why the IGF Secretariat, together working with the government of Poland, with a number of youth IGFs, a number of organizations that are working excellent things on the capacity development for youth, such as, for example, the Internet Society and so and others which we will mention during the next week. We worked on creating opportunities for young people to meet with senior internet governance experts and decision makers. So on 5th of November, starting at 4:30 UTC, which might be a little bit late, I know, for the Indian time, but I still hope you will be able to join us with your late night cup of tea, is that the Youth Summit will be hosted. The Youth Summit is going to feature 3 discussion blocks following the bottom-up inputs that we received from young people. It's going to focus on how do we overbridge the digital divide for next generations of internet users, but also experts and leaders in digital policy. What is that technological innovation that we need in our educational sector? And what are the capacity development opportunities that we concretely need that we would benefit as young students, as young professionals, and as I said, future leaders and experts. The Youth Summit will feature youth IGFs from all parts of the world, but it's not going to be exclusive youth-to-youth discussion. As while there's a value to network, the biggest value is really when you speak to those that can implement the changes and the ideas that you have on improving the internet governance and internet. So the Youth Summit will, I'm very happy to say that the Youth Summit will feature some of the excellent senior experts you can speak to. It will be opened by the head of the IGF Secretariat on the United Nations side. This is the first time I'm confirming this exclusively for this Youth IGF. It will also be opened by the senior government official from Poland, former Minister for Digital Affairs, Mr. Zagorski, now the State Secretary in the Prime Minister's office. And beyond, it will not just be a symbolic opening where you hear from the high-level stakeholders keynotes and then they leave. We are very fortunate that both of the speakers will stay for a limited period of time to engage in a meaningful discussion with all of you. Then we will focus on other blocks, which, as I said, will feature senior stakeholders. One of them is a very dear colleague, an excellent, impressive expert in digital innovations coming from the International Telecommunications Union, Mr. Wong. He is going to speak to you about the technological innovations. And then we are going to speak about the capacity development with the next year's host country, with a number of Polish stakeholders from the government side and from the side of the research and academic institutions, just to understand how to proceed next year with capacity development opportunities for young people and how to channel the inputs. The summit, hopefully, thanks to the rapporteurs of the IGF Secretariat, will result in concrete messages, which later will be subject for public consultations and finally communicated to a wide range of stakeholders and decision makers. In addition to the Youth Summit, there will be around 10 flash lightning talks, which will allow you one-on-one direct discussion on particular topics that you set as priority, I mean, as young people, with some of the most prominent organizations in the international ecosystem of the Internet governance. For example, there will be opportunity to speak with the World Web Foundation, with the Internet Society, with the ITU, with the European Commission, and so on. So maybe I'll stop here. There are quite a number of speakers. Today, I believe by the end of the day, everything should be announced on the website so that you can prepare over the weekend, book your schedule, book your calendars, and join those, I think, very good opportunities long-term that can create partnerships. The high-level leaders track is also quite an innovative track this year. As you know, there's been always ministerials or high-level sessions at the IGF, but this year it's a little bit more ambitious, I would say, and more structured. It's going to take place in the second phase of the IGF. Those are, in addition to opening and closing high-level sessions, 5 thematic sessions, which will focus on the role of Internet governance in the age of uncertainty. They're going to discuss the aspects of health, social development, economy, cybersecurity, and environment. The Secretary General of the United Nations is going to open the high-level leaders track during the opening high-level session on 9th of November. And youth representatives will be present in the opening and closing high-level sessions. Those are 2 excellent colleagues. I'm sure that when I tell you the names, or when the names are announced on the IGF schedule, you will recognize them. The high-level leaders track will allow for interaction with the high-level leader experts and decision makers. So you can, I advise you to join as many sessions as you can and really take active participation with your name, with your title, and expressing your concerns or suggestions for improving certain issues in Internet governance. The names, I'm sure you are interested, who are the participants of the high-level leaders track. So in addition to, I'll just give you a couple of information, but everything you can find on the IGF website is that the United Nations Secretary General will open, as you know, the meeting. The meeting will see quite remarkable panels across the high-level leaders track. Mr. Jeffrey Sachs, which I'm sure you all heard of, Mr. Vince Cerf, those people that they don't really need any introduction. They're going to be there. A number of ministers are going to feature that track, a number of heads of UN international organizations, number of respected scholars as well. You will hear from the leadership, for example, of ICANN, of ISOC, of as I said, UN agencies, of certain governmental agencies in other regions, that in African region, in RULAC region, Asia Pacific region. From India, particularly, there will be a number of respective stakeholders. So all in all, it's really worth of, I think, reserving as much time as you can for the IGF next year and the following year. And I also advise you to visit the IGF village. There will be opportunity to network one-on-one with more than 70 different organizations. Please let me know if you would like to be connected to any of those. I would be happy. The IGF Youth at inconform.org is a mailing list for all young people. I think it would be good. Ihita has the details, I'm sure, and I can paste in the chat later, that you that you subscribe to the list, because many of the session organizers are being asked to involve the young people in a meaningful way in their discussions. So they are already starting to send the invitations to that list, so you can create direct channels to engage more with several session organizers and their organizations. And with that, I think it's good to create also partnerships to network more, but also to learn more about certain aspects and contribute with your good ideas to those sessions. Maybe I will stop here, Ihita. Sorry, maybe I took even more time than I was supposed to, but it was very exciting for me to be here. I want to again thank you so much for inviting me. Ihita, huge congratulations to you. I can imagine the amount of work invested, you and your colleagues from the organizing committee, in hosting what is an excellent, definitely, event. And I am more than happy. I know that it's going to go over the weekend, so I'm more than happy to connect as well and to listen as much as I can afford. It's a little bit busy period for us, but pleasure, and I wish you all success and many more meetings like this to come in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anya. Thanks a lot for the encouragement and for all the information that you shared with us today. So I'm sure, so most of us here are aware of the Internet Governance Forum and are aware of a few stakeholders who work in the IG ecosystem. But there was a lot more information that you shared, and what I will be doing now is sharing the links to all of them. I've shared the link to the IGF 2020 virtual forum that will be taking place next week onwards. And then I will also share the link to the Youth Summit and also the mailing list. So like you very rightly pointed out that, the Youth Summit, it's just not about interacting with the youth. There's an opportunity for us to also interact with expert stakeholders, which was, again, an opportunity to learn, network with them, collaborate and find out ways how you can further grow in internet governance. So I'm talking from my personal experience, and I had the opportunity to attend the Internet Governance Forum in 2018, where there's a lot of information around you, and there is always there's so many verticals of IG that you might find fit well in your area of interest, so you can further start understanding who are the stakeholders involved and how you can do better, learn better, contribute better in that. So thanks a lot, Anya, for joining, and thank you again for the constant support that you provided to us since day one of Youth IGF India, since the very beginning, 2018. So I think we have